Welcome back to the Autry Benton Show. Today's episode is going to be fun. I'm sitting down with my friend and the guy that keeps me straight on this show, Coleton Furlow. Coleton, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's weird being in the seat. Usually I'm back there behind the cameras.
Side. Yeah, but you're natural in front of a camera.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so you're into a lot of things, aren't you? Yeah, you're a free agent everywhere. Probably your biggest gig is CPAC. You work for CPAC, and then you're my comms director. Tell us about CPAC.
Keep myself busy. CPAC is a conservative organization. We say that we are the largest gathering of conservatives in the entire world. We have the yearly CPAC conference where all the top conservative leaders from here in America, but also just from around the world come together, talk about the issues that are at hand every single day. I've been with them for 4 years now, so I basically do what I do for you for CPAC as well. Work in communication, social media, all that. It's very fun.
Fun stuff.
Yes, sir.
Stuff. Well, let's jump back in time. Let's learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
Well, it's a funny question because a lot of people think I'm from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not. I am from a small town in western Maryland. It borders West Virginia. I always say I could throw a rock and hit it. It's called Cumberland, Maryland. But, you know, I don't like to claim Maryland a lot. Very liberal, very leftist, if you know anything about Maryland politics. But my family on my mom's side is from West Virginia. I'm a huge West Virginia fan, so I like to claim that.
Wait a minute, pause there. Tell them one more time. Probably the biggest West Virginia fan in South Carolina.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We always say that Horry County in South Carolina is West Virginia's 56th county. There's a lot of West Virginians moving down here. So there's a lot of West Virginia fans around here. So anytime someone comes up to me and is like, "Are you from West Virginia?" Because I usually have WVO apparel on, I just say yes.
Yeah.
And save the story, save the trouble of explaining where I'm from. But I am from Maryland, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you said it, but Horry County does have a large population and a lot of visitors that come to Horry County to visit from there. And honestly, I'm not just saying because you're there, but like one of my best friends in life, he's not with us no longer, was from West Virginia. Yeah. Some of the finest people in the world are from West Virginia.
I mean, it's almost heaven. That's what they call it up there. But we love the people from there, and there's so many good people down here. That's how I started knowing about the areas. We vacation down here, and a lot of just the people from up there love to come down here. It's a great place.
Good taste. So I interrupted you. So I grew up in Maryland. Take it up from
so I've lived there for 18 years, product of public school. And public school was kind of like my thing. I loved going to school. I loved the activities in school. I loved sports, playing sports in school. All the way up through high school, I played soccer for about 12 years. And then in high school, I played football. I became a kicker. So that was just like the highlight. It was just kind of my dream to just, live the high school musical dream for me. So I loved growing up. I guess we could start going into my family. My family is very small, very tight. I'm the only child. I don't have any siblings. I really don't have any cousins other than my mom's sister has 2 daughters. So we're a very tight-knit family. My parents got divorced when I was about 5 or 6 years old. So I just lived with my mom for, I guess, maybe 10 years after that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change my childhood for any second. I just loved everything that I did growing up.
Strong relationship with your grandparents.
Great relationship with my grandparents. So strong that when I came down here for college, they decided to move down as well. So I love them on both sides.
Great people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're some of my best friends. Do everything together. They're the reasons why I'm the big West Virginia fan that I am.
Oh, they pull from.
They've had season tickets to West Virginia football for over 25 years, I believe. So they brought me in the cult, I'd say.
Yeah, and Rich Rodriguez is back home.
He's back, and my grandmother's not the happiest about it because of the way that he left.
And that just scratched my head on that. I just think some coaches fit some programs or whatever, and that was the oddest.
Yeah, he is West Virginia culture.
Yes.
He fits the program. He's good for the brand. You see him out last week in Omaha at the West Virginia baseball games out at the World Series, and he's
another strong West Virginia we saw on TV.
Pat McAfee, who was his punter, kicker, back in those days.
I didn't know that. I think him being back in West Virginia, I mean, what made him so successful, I think that magic's going to start happening again. You know?
I hope so, because we've had a long drought of not doing well and not going to a bowl that matters.
Yeah.
I think America's better off when West Virginia is good at sports.
Okay.
It's just a fun time.
As Coleton says, well, we'll see if it's true. Sorry. Anyway, good. So I'm curious, how did you pick Coastal?
Okay, so that's a wild story. That's a God story, to be honest with you. So as a kid growing up, my dream was to be a sports broadcaster. I thought I was going to be on ESPN. I thought I was going to be, traveling the country, doing all these football broadcasts, being on College Game Day. Like, that was the dream I had. And I went to a media camp at WVU. And I went there and I just loved it. So I was like, I'm dead set on this. I'm going to become a sports broadcaster. And then Coastal Carolina was in the College World Series in 2016, and we vacationed down here in Myrtle Beach my entire life, but we never heard about Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
But that College World Series put Coastal Carolina on the map.
Yes.
And I remember watching it, and I was like, wow, they're from the Myrtle Beach area. Yeah. I didn't even know Conway really existed, because we never came inland at all. And so when we came down here the following year, which was 2017 for vacation, West Virginia decided to play Coastal in baseball. So I was like, let's go down in February.
Yeah.
And my grandparents brought me down, and they had a condo down here at that time. So we kind of stayed a couple weeks, and we went to the West Virginia Coastal game. West Virginia did beat them. They beat the defending national champions. But I was like, my gosh, this is a beautiful campus. I love it. It's definitely not like up in the mountains, and everything was together. WVU is very spread out. But I decided to tour the campus, and I saw a brochure that said Intelligence and National Security Studies. And I was like, that's interesting. That was kind of like an FBI thing. I loved FBI, CIA movies and everything. So I was like, we'll tour this. We'll hear about it. And I just kind of left feeling like I was at home. So I went back, and I wasn't graduating high school until 2019. So I just kind of began to think about it, pray on it. And I just had this urge and this gut feeling to come to Coastal. So I kind of just let go of my dreams that I had and came down here, and it just kind of rerouted my entire life. So I decided to come here for intelligence and national security.
Wow. I want to touch on something you said, but it is absolutely a gorgeous campus.
It is.
And unlike a lot of universities, it's not spread out. It's very compact. I think that's what makes it very special. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, because at WVU, when I toured, it's in the city.
Yeah.
So you have to drive from campus to campus. You have to take a little cart thing that's like a train. It's called the PRT, and that was not for me. Yeah. I didn't want to walk 5 miles a day to get to point A to point B, and just coming down here, everything's together. It feels like a small town community. And I mean, you can't not go to college when the beach is 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
So that was another.
Harvard by the sea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Harvard by the sea. Where was I going? So I want to ask you this question at this point. Very heavily in political space now, but where did that come from? Was it from childhood? Was it college? Where did that bug bite you?
Yeah, I was never involved in politics at all growing up. My family wasn't either. We knew where we stood politically because we were brought up in the Christian faith. So we knew we were conservative growing up. I remember going to the voting booth with my mom during the Obama election, and I remember her saying that we're voting for Mitt Romney because conservative Christian values. So that was the extent of our political activity. I'd say it was just voting. But it was when I came down here to college at Coastal Carolina, in my Intel 200 class, I had a professor named Jonathan Acuff who put in our syllabus, if you consume right-wing media, and he listed Fox News, Newsmax, Breitbart, none of our faculty and staff are going to respect you or take you seriously.
Are you serious?
And I read that. And that was going into my second semester of college there. And I read that, and I was just thinking, I know where I stand politically. I know what my values are. And how can you, as a professor who are teaching people to become part of the government, but you would be working for the office of the presidency, you're not working for whoever the person is, how are you as a professor going to put such a biased statement in a syllabus for these students to just read and then forego their values. And so in that moment, I was like, someone has to do something about it. So I wrote to the dean, I wrote to the president of the school, and they basically said, well, the guy's tenured. You can't really do anything about it. So I took it upon myself the next day, which was my first day in that class, to just ask the question. And he read the syllabus in that class, and he said, any questions? And I was like, I do. And
it's first time stepping on the edge.
yes, but if you know me growing up, I'm very outspoken no matter what it was. So even though I wasn't involved in politics, I was a loudmouth. I was very opinionated. So of course, I'm like, I have a question. And I said, with all due respect, and he stopped me. And I have this all recorded too. He stopped me. He says, well, you don't have to say that. I just know that something's going to come out that's negative, basically. And I was like, well, no, with all due respect, don't you think this is a little bias? And he said, no, I don't think it's bias at all, because Fox News produces lies and CNN produces facts. That was the gist of the conversation that we had. And then he started asking me if I thought Joe Biden won the election and stuff. And I was like, that doesn't matter. You're just blatantly putting a very biased statement as a professor in a college syllabus. So that was kind of the end of it, because they couldn't do anything. He was tenured. But after that class, no one else said anything. But a couple people came up to me and was like, thank you. I was like, for what? And they're like, standing up and saying something. And I thought to myself, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Why was I the only one to do it?
Yeah.
So in that moment, I was thinking to myself, I'm realizing what's happening all across the country in these college campuses. Students are being indoctrinated by leftist ideology, by ungodliness. And if no one's going to stand up, why not me? So it was in that moment that I decided that I was probably going to forego my career in intelligence and national security, and I was going to start getting involved in politics. So I did that down here. I got involved in just local stuff at first, and I just realized that there was a calling on my life to bring truth, bring conservative values, and bring Christian values into politics. And long story short, I ended up applying for different things in DC upon graduation. And I was actually accepted and supposed to work for Kevin McCarthy at the time before he became speaker. But then someone actually applied to CPAC for me. I didn't even apply to CPAC.
Wow.
And I didn't know this person did it either.
Yeah.
And I got a call, and I was actually in Conway when I got the call. And they said they'd like to have an interview with me. And I was like, for what? And they said, for your application. I was like, oh, right, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, they ended up offering more money than Kevin could as an intern in Congress. And I decided to take that route. And the rest is history. I've never looked back. I never went in the career of my degree at all. I've just been full-blown into politics. But my purpose, I think, in politics is to bring God back into politics, because I think that's the problem in this country. We've just neglected him. We've said that God can't be in politics, and look what our country's become. We're so divided.
Yeah. So stepping back, thank you for sharing that. Stepping back, so you did get your degree.
I did. I
The degree was in, tell us that degree.
Intelligence and National Security, with a double minor in pre-law and criminology.
Man, I always knew you were smart. I know you're really smart, for sure.
Nah.
And this might be silly, whatever, but I think we take for granted. We use big words in life sometimes, tenured.
Yes.
Maybe somebody out there that doesn't know what that carries. Explain to our listeners what tenured means and what that is and why it looks at and why that's a problem.
Yeah, so basically, to make it short and sweet, you're in for so long, you're in that position for so long that they really can't fire you for whatever you say or do. You're kind of in like this lifelong position. And the problem with that is exactly what just happened to me in college. Is he's indoctrinating us. He's doing things that he shouldn't, or saying things that he shouldn't be saying. Yet he can't be reprimanded for it. No actions can be taken upon that because he is tenured. He's there until he wants to leave, basically. So that needs to go. We need to be able to hold these people accountable.
Yeah, and I don't know of any other segment in life, business, or government you can get voted out that this is such a thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in government, we have elections.
Yes.
So if you don't like the person, you're going to vote him out the next time.
Yes.
And if we don't like the professor, we're stuck with him.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem.
Man, we got to change that.
Absolutely.
We do. Wow, that's just good. It's good. So I want to step here. Tell me about your faith and your relationship with the Lord. We've touched on it, but tell us what that is for you.
Yeah, it's huge for me, and it wasn't at a time. I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up in a Christian family. My mom says that I was the reason that she started going to church. And I'm going to try not to get emotional throughout all of this. But when I was born, that's when she said that she realized life wasn't just about herself, that she had someone else to take care of. And so she brought me into church basically immediately. So I grew up, I went to Sunday school, I went to VBS, I went to the Wednesday night, we called it Awana back there, back home. So I grew up in the church. I knew all the things. And there was a time in Awana that I did the sinner's prayer that I thought that would like just save me from everything. But as you're growing up, you don't really grasp the reality of your sin and the weight of your sin at all. And to be frank with you, I was living a very hidden, sinful life. I was living a double life, I'd say. It was a very sexually immorality life. I was engaging in same-sex things that I don't pride myself on. And for years, I kept that hidden throughout high school. That's a whole long story of how that all developed. But in the midst of that, I thought I was a Christian through it all. But I continued to live in the sin that I was living in. And it wasn't until I was in college and I was actually in a full-blown relationship, and no one really knew about it. And in college, I was attending church at times, but I wasn't living for the Lord. I definitely wasn't surrendered to Him whatsoever. But there was a moment that really changed everything for me. I was in my dorm at Coastal Carolina, and I thought I'd just turn on K-Love. And for the first time ever, I heard a song called Battle Belongs by Phil Wickham. And it talks about, the battle doesn't belong to us. Everything that we are carrying on our shoulders, the weight of the world, we were never meant to carry.
Amen.
And the point of it was to just lay all of the problems, lay all of your battles at the feet of Jesus, and He'll take care of it. And so it started to resonate with me, and it kind of became my fight song for about a year. And even in the midst of that, I still wasn't like fully surrendered. I wasn't reading the Bible or anything. When I moved to DC, the person I was in a relationship with was the one who applied to CPAC for me. So such a God thing, because look how everything has played out. When I moved to DC, the heaviness of it all just started to just cave in. I felt the world was caving in on me. I wanted to give up, basically. And I didn't know where else to turn to. And on April 15th, 2022, it was Good Friday. And I started attending a church there. And that day, I felt the heaviness, and I turned on K-Love again, and Battle Belongs was playing.
Wow, that's a God thing.
And in that moment, I said, Lord, I can't do this on my own. I don't know where to turn to. I can't save myself from myself. I need someone else to do it. I need you to take the weight of the world off my shoulders. And I went to church that Good Friday night, and at the end, they did an invitation for salvation, and I just fully surrendered my life there.
Amen.
And in that moment, everything changed, but everything didn't change, Everything changed for my destiny. Everything changed for eternity. I felt a peace come over me. But life just doesn't get better immediately. It's a gradual thing. It's sanctification. So over the years, I just started growing in my faith. And when I was in DC, I kept feeling this tug that I had to get out. So after I fully surrendered and everything, I was realizing all the different things around me of how demonic this world really is. And I was probably going to start engaging in sinful things that I didn't want to, whether it was drinking, whether it was going out and partying. And I was like, I have to get away from this. So I talked to work and I decided to move back home with my mom for about a year in 2023. And then I felt that heart tug again. And I felt God just telling me, go back to South Carolina. And I was like, no, I don't know anyone down there. I don't know what I would do. And I was just down here, and I was at a Phil Wickham concert down here during vacation. And I left that concert, and I looked at different concerts in the area, and I saw one that was going to be at Langston. It was Kane. And so I was like, okay, well, if I decide to move down here, I'll go there. Mm-hmm. And I ended up coming back down. I toured different apartment complexes, and then I went to the Republican Women's Club. This is when my whole life just radically changed. Mm-hmm. And I walked in there, and we all know Jerry McDaniel, mm-hmm. who we love and miss.
Yes.
She came running up to me and gave me the biggest hug, and she said, "You're back." And I was like, "Not back, I'm just here visiting." And she said, "There's just several people I want you to meet," and just took me around, shook their hands and everything. And there was a family standing there that I had no idea who they were, but she didn't introduce me to them. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I was sitting down, and it was the candidate forum. The different candidates were able to come up and talk. And there was a guy named Autry Benton who was running for state senate.
Run from that guy.
He was running for state senate. And he stood up there and just gave his spiel, and I was like, my gosh, this guy should be in office. He's in it for the right reasons. He has strong conservative values. He is a man of God. He has strong convictions. And I was like, this guy should beat the rhino who is currently in office. And so I took a picture and I posted it on Facebook, and then all of a sudden the whole Benton family started adding me on Facebook to be friends. And I was like, oh, okay. So as we became friends on Facebook, still never met y'all in person yet. I saw a picture of your daughter Eden speaking at an event at this church called Langston Baptist Church. And I was like, well, this is the second time I saw Langston. So I was like, I'll go try it out. And when I decided to move down here, I was in my apartment, decided to try it out, and I prayed. I was like, Lord, if this is a church for me, this is such a silly prayer, but let Phil Wickham be played at the service, or let Battle Belongs be played. So I go in this church, it was a Wednesday night, and I walk in and I see pews. And I haven't seen pews since my church back home. And so I just felt like an emotional rush over me. And before service started, they were playing music over the speakers, and Battle Belongs was playing. And I was like, okay, God, I see you, I hear you. The first song that they did in worship was House of the Lord by Phil Wickham. I was like, okay. You know, people talk about signs and everything, but for me, that was it. And I decided that I was going to start going there, and I had my hand up in worship. And I never did that before. I always said, the Baptists up north, we don't do that. Mm-hmm. But I had my hand up in worship, and I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and it's this guy with glasses. He was like, are you new here? I was like, yeah. And he says, I feel like I know the answer, but do you have a relationship with the Lord? I was like, I do. And he was like, well, I want you to start coming here. I was like, I think I'm going to. Yeah. And he said that he would introduce me to the college pastor and everything. Yeah. But it was in that moment I was like, I found my home. I felt at peace. And ever since then, man, I've just been growing in the Lord, growing in my faith. The people that God has surrounded me with, I couldn't be more happy, more blessed to be surrounded by all of you. You're not friends. Y'all have become family. So just the God working little things here and there. I just know that the battles don't belong to me. The battles belong to Him. And it's just trusting in Him that He has a plan that's far greater for you than you could ever imagine.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah. And man, we love you, and our life has been so enriched knowing you, and you've said some kind things, but we were all the blessed to get to know you, and we love you. Hope you know that. And I think the other thing you said, but that's the other beautiful thing about church is, besides the Lord, God gave us a church for each other, the relationships you build. And I know that you're such a relationship guy, that you've met so many people that you love and have built deep roots with. And I think that's so important about church, don't you?
Yeah. I never had church friends.
Yeah.
I never really had Christian friends, even all the way until moving down here. I had friends who call themselves Christians, but I know now, knowing the full truth and full surrender of salvation, that they're probably not real born again believers, because they're still one foot in the world, one foot kind of in church. But being surrounded by people who just love the Lord, who love you and want to hold your hands up when you can't hold them up yourself, and just want to surround you and do life with, I think it's so important. I think that's why the local church is so important, is to just do community with. I always prayed for like a best friend that was in the church, and PJ, shout out, the college pastor.
He actually voted this year, I think.
He did.
Thanks to you.
Yeah. It's 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, yeah.
But just having him come into my life and just pouring into me. And when I went deep into my story and my testimony of the sin that I was living in, I was always afraid, like, what would Christian men think about me? Like, I want to be their friend. I need brothers in Christ to surround me. But sharing that story with them was always terrifying to me, because would they want to be my friend? Would they want to talk to me, knowing the things that I've done in the past, even though it's in the past? When I told him everything, I felt like the love of Jesus in that moment. Amen. Because I was able to forgive myself for the things that I've done in the past, because here's this person who barely knows me, has forgiven me kind of for the sins that I've committed in the past, and it's just become basically a brother to me, my best friend. So I think it's just huge that if you don't have a church, you got to find a local church, find people you can do life with and who just love on you and pour into you and just make you more like Jesus. Yeah.
But Coleton, I think that's the beautiful thing about relationship with Christ. Sin is sin. There's no scale. God hates it all. And I think sometimes our world tries to do that, but we're all forgiven. You know, it's a beautiful thing about Christ, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of time. You got to come back. We didn't get to get any politics, but we'll get into it next time. But they can tell them where you can find them. You're different places, and you got your own podcast.
I do. I have the Battle Belongs podcast. You can find it and listen to it anywhere. You can follow me on social media at Coleton Furlow on all platforms. It's a fun time, I'd say, on my social media. You get my unfiltered, opinionated thoughts every day.
That's good. And I think there's a viral video of you in D.C., man on the street with a crazy person. Tell us really quickly about that.
I'm not sure it's a person. I thought it was a demon. It was the day Roe v. Wade was overturned. I was doing man on the street, and this woman, I'd say, came up and just started screaming, "My body, my choice," in my ear. And I just happened to grab my phone out and start videoing it. It went viral. The second time I posted it, it's hit over 35 million views. But these people are crazy, and they're out to get you. So you got to just armor up and be ready.
That's right. Good. Coleton, I love you. Thank you for joining us.
Love you.
Folks, no matter where you're at today, God can rewrite your story. America's a beautiful place, and we just need to get involved. Please join us next time.